and welcome to 10 On Demand. I'm here to guide you through a mat-based, 10-styled, full-body Pilates class that's perfect for beginners, but also great for anyone who'd like to go back to basics. Now at 10, our focus is on quality of movement and not just how hard you're working. So please do feel free to stop and reset at any point in order to allow you to really focus on your technique. Awesome, let's begin. Now today, as we move through some different exercises, Brad will be demonstrating your regressions and Shameen will be demonstrating your progressions. All right, so we're going to start by placing our feet directly underneath our hips with a slight softness through the knees. Lovely, that's going to travel all the way up through our pelvis, and we're going to roll those shoulders back and down. Now we're just going to start with some standing pelvic tilts. Lovely, so I'm gently rocking that pelvis back and forth. Now I'll just face side on so you can see what's going on here, all right? Everything else is staying still. I'm just isolating that pelvis back and forth. Lovely. Should feel like the pelvis is a fishbowl and there's water gently flowing out the front and the back. Excellent. Let's try and find neutral now. So leave that pelvis steady and then lift and lengthen up and out of that. We want a nice long spine. Lovely. Let's lift the shoulders up now, trying to touch the ears and then shrug them back down. Here we go again. Up. And shrug down. Good. You can do it with a little bit more energy now. Excellent. Now, as we do this, let's think of opening across the chest and trying to place those shoulders slightly back and down our spine. So we're setting our posture up really nicely right from the start. Excellent. One more. Let's leave those shoulders back and down now as we slowly drop our chin, making our way into our nods. Lift that chin slightly. Excellent. Keep this going. Okay, so we're softening through the neck. We're not throwing our head back and forth though, just getting a gentle lift. Excellent, go there one more time. Good control, everyone. And then bring that head back into the center. From here, we look to the right and we gently float to the left. Good, so we're gently shaking that head side to side now. Again, easing out those neck muscles. We don't want them tensing up too much throughout the class. Okay, hold your head back into the center now. Lovely. All right, from here, we want to start thinking about our TVA, our transversus abdominis muscles. So you can place your hands around your tummy, down nice and low if you like. Good, and we're going to try and draw the tummy away from your hands. So you want to feel those abdominals gently tightening up. Then release them, soften into your hands again. Try that again. Draw the belly in away from the hands and soften it away. Good. Keep that going like that. Now just remember, our core muscles actually wrap all the way around us, okay? They're not just the abdominals on the front. And it's really important in Pilates that we're learning to find that core connection. It does take practice though. Let's try that one more time, gently drawing the belly away from the hands and softening it away again. Lovely. Try to remember that throughout the class. I'll remind you as we go as well. Okay, we can relax our hands now, and we want to have an awareness of our pelvic floor. I'll face side on so you can see what I mean. Our pelvic floor muscles, if you're not sure, they actually run from the front to the back of the pelvis, kind of like a sling or a hammock, running all the way from the front to the back. Now, when we try and activate the pelvic floor, you want to feel like you're lifting it up inside you a little bit. Now, hopefully you didn't see any of us move, okay? We don't wriggle the hips around as we try to find our pelvic floor. You can feel that activation happening inside you, but we can't see it. So let's try that again. Have an awareness of those pelvic floor muscles. Gently lift them up inside you, about 30%, and then relax them back down again. Okay, sometimes it can help to imagine that your pelvic floor is an elevator and it's gently going up to the 3rd floor and then relaxing back down. Good, let's try this 2 more times. Now don't worry, this is also something that does take a bit of practice. Okay, but we want to be trying to incorporating into our Pilates practice right from now. Lovely, relax that pelvic floor back down one more time. Okay, from here, let's start to think about our breathing, specifically our lateral thoracic breathing for Pilates. So we'll place our hands onto our rib cage, lovely. We've still got those nice soft knees. Now fingertips are gently touching to begin. Then I want you to take a nice deep breath in, out. Good, keep that going. Now notice our hands. Hopefully yours are doing the same. As you take that deep breath in, you feel the rib cage expand so the hands separate slightly, like curtains are being opened. And then we inhale, we exhale and release that off again. So we inhale, feel the expansion, exhale, let it go. Good. Lateral thoracic breathing is really important to your Pilates practice for lots of different reasons. Not only does it help to get our mind, body connecting together so we can really think about the movement, all right, but it also helps you to keep that TVA, those deep core muscles engaged while we continue to breathe. Lovely. Let's try that there one more time, guys. Looking good. Excellent, and leave that there. Good, so we've still got those shoulders going all the way back and down. We're lifting up nice and tall, and now we have an awareness of the abdominals and the pelvic floor as well. Let's start our side bend. So we reach down for our right hand goes really heavy. We take it all the way out, up, and then over. Good, creating that lovely stretch down the right side of your body. Float that arm back down. Let's go left hand this time, reaching it down, out, up and over. Excellent. Float it back down. Keep following us a couple more times now and notice how we're really keeping the hips, the pelvis nice and still. We're trying to extend and reach the body from above the hips. Good. Our backs, our hips, all of those kind of areas tend to get quite tight. So we want to try and release and mobilize these areas before we start the rest of our class. Lovely. Let's go one more time. Good, we've got one more to finish off on the other arm. Excellent, keeping the chest nice and open, the shoulders and the neck relaxed. Excellent, float that down. From here we bring our hands down onto our knees and we start to gently bend and straighten the knees. Now I'm going to face side on so you can see. And watch how I'm thinking of lifting my hips up to the ceiling, okay? So I'm not just rocking back and hanging on my knees, but I'm instead trying to reach the hips up so that we're gently getting those hamstrings starting to lengthen. Good, now we're drawing the belly in. Good, keeping those abdominals working. Nice, go there a couple more times. Mobilizing the ankles, the hips, the knees. Excellent. And then standing up, let's start our heel raises. So we're going to use the arms to help us, swinging at the same time as we rise up and down through our feet. Lovely, now we're keeping those abdominals drawn in as we do this. Lovely, and if you're feeling quite confident there, you might want to take the arms all the way up overhead. Good. Or you can keep them down. Let's go 2 more times, really keeping those ankles as steady as we can, feeling the body turn on and fire up. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Beautiful. Place that back down. Let's reach the arms out to the side now. We're going to glide our right foot forward along the floor. Good. Lift up, lift up, lift up, and float it back in. Out to the side now. Reach the foot out to the side. Float it back in. Good. Same leg again. Right foot slides forward and in. Slide out. Now a couple of different options here if you prefer to do this with your hands on your hips. If that gets your shoulders a bit niggly otherwise, go ahead and do that. If you're feeling quite confident here, you can go ahead and start to swoop that foot off the floor. Lovely. Good. So a little bit more warming up through the hips now. Keeping those abdominals turning on and also really trying to squeeze and stabilize and lift for our supporting leg. Let's finish that one off there. Okay, check the feet are still directly underneath your hips. We're going into our roll downs now. So we bring our chin to our chest and then we start to let our head, our hands go really heavy as we piece our way down. Good, keep rolling there for me, following Brad and Shameen. Rolling your way down through that spine. Lovely. Go to where it feels comfortable for you. This is the first time we've done this today, so you don't want to force it at the start. When you've gone far enough, I want you to soften your knees, draw your belly in, and use that to start slowly, piece by piece, little by little, re-stacking your spine. Good. No rush. Take your time for this one. Let's try that again. Chin to chest, heavy hands, heavy heads. Really, piece by piece, little by little, rolling down through your spine, feeling like we're opening up the vertebrae like the pages of a book. We're fanning them open, creating space along your spine. Lovely. At the bottom, you'll feel a little bit of a stretch up the back of the legs as well.
And then remember to come back up. We soften the knees, we tuck the tailbone, we draw the belly in, and we use that to piece by piece, little by little, re-stack that spine, standing nice and tall at the top. Well done. Straight into the left side now of our gliding along the floor. So reaching that left foot forward, lifting up through the opposite hip. Good. And then out to the side. Nice. Now, if you're doing this with your arms out, keep the energy in those arms. Okay, it will feel a lot better. If your hands are on your hips, that's completely fine. Good. And then reach taller, taller. Go. Who can be the tallest? I'm watching you. I am. I'm looking down that camera. I can see you right now. Everyone stand up a little bit taller. Lovely. We've got one more forward. Remember, you can be taking it off the ground if you prefer. One more to the side. Excellent. Finish that off and bring that back down. Okay, one more thing in this position, our spine twists. So let's bend our knees, let's cross our hands, and now let's separate our upper and our lower body. Your lower body is going to stay completely still. It is just the upper body which we want to start to spiral. So we're going to start turning our chest towards the right-hand side. Your eyes are traveling in the same direction as your chest, so we're not trying to peek around the corner. All right, and your hip bones are very much shining straight ahead. Let's come back through the center now and try going the other way. So our knees are still soft. Our pelvis is completely steady. And that way we're really trying to find that rotation through our upper body. It's really important that we don't miss out the rotation. Okay, it's quite easy to forget about. But if we lose rotation from our exercise, okay, then your body's not so used to doing it. It's unsupported when it happens in real life. And we do rotate a lot in daily life. Okay, so we want to make sure the body's conditioned to do that now. Now, if that's going well for you, you're welcome to float your arms out to the side. Keep them symmetrical as you go. Okay, so don't let one overtake the other. As we spiral a little bit further, perhaps you're gradually increasing your range. Excellent. Let's go one more each side. And I hope we're thinking of staying lifted through the pelvic floor, drawn in through the belly. Okay, keeping the abdominals on and also warming up your obliques gently here as well. All right, we've got our last one over to the left now. Breathing nice and smoothly as we go. Starting to finish it off in 3, in 2, and in 1. Beautiful, stand tall there. Well done. Let's make our way down to the ground now, okay, however's comfortable for you to do so. And we're going to find ourselves in a supine position. So that's when we're lying down on our backs. Now, just take a moment to adjust your feet. You want them a couple of inches away from your bottom and hip width apart. Excellent. Nice long spine. Hands at the side of the body, and we're going to gently press the shoulder blades, the scapula down into the floor. Excellent. From here, keep everything else still as we just pelvic tilt. So gently tucking under with the pelvis, feeling the lower back softly press into the mat. And then releasing over the other way. So you feel a little bit of an arch into the lower back now. Keep this going here, gently rocking the pelvis back and forth, but watching that we don't force the movement, okay? You're not trying to do this in a forceful way, lifting the bottom off of the mat. We're simply just rocking and gliding, all right? Easing out any of that tension that tends to like to build up in the lumbar pelvic area. And also increasing your awareness, okay? So much of the stability, the control for our body comes from the pelvis. So the more we understand how it moves, the better we can then respond and take care of our bodies. Beautiful. Go here one more time, keeping those hips nice and balanced, the tummy gently drawn in as you do so. And then we'll use this to find our neutral position. So for neutral, you want the hip bones and your pubic bone to be sitting in a nice flat line. We should have a very small pocket of air underneath your lower back. Now, you're ideally going to try and maintain that as you go. I like to imagine a little blueberry sitting underneath there, okay? And we don't want to squash the blueberry, but we also don't want to let it roll away. Okay, let's try our 100 preparations with our knee folds now. Draw that belly in, find that TVA. Use your hands if you need to help find your rib to hip connection. Good. Gently lift through that pelvic floor. Keep the spine, the pelvis in place. Here we go. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, fold the knee, the one closest to your screen. Lovely, keeping everything else steady. Gently place that foot back down and try the other side. Inhale, prepare. Exhale. Folding at the hip, lifting the knee. Lovely. Okay, let's keep going here. Now remember, use your hands as much as you like. We want that tummy drawing in as firm and as flat as you can, keeping those abdominals nicely engaged. We want to keep the hip bones balanced. And are you still remembering your blueberry underneath your lower back? I hope so. Good. So there's lots to think about here. Keep concentrating on it. It's really worth finding this good core stability, this great core activation right from the start of class. If you're quite confident with this, you feel like it's going well, you can follow Shamim as she gently starts to swap the legs a little bit faster now. Good. Continuing side to side. Nicely done here. Just a few more to go, everyone. Lovely. Excellent. So we see Brad's really trying to keep that belly drawn in, folding at the hip. Nice. Just a couple more to go there. And then on your next one, if you're feeling ready to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can feel that the core is staying drawn in and you're maintaining your neutral positioning, then you can leave both legs up into a tabletop position. If you're still building your core strength, no problem at all, just keep those feet down. Okay, whichever one you've chosen, we're then going to reach for our fingertips, scoop in the belly, exhale and curl ourselves up, rolling the shoulder blades up off the mat. Inhale as you control and float back down. Well done. Let's try that 4 more times. Exhale, scoop in the belly, curl up, energy in the arms. That's it. Inhale, roll back down. Lovely. Here we go. 3 more. Exhale to curl up. Try and keep a little bit of space between chin and chest. Nicely lengthening through the back of your neck. Now, if you do need a bit more support, go ahead and pop the hands gently underneath your head. That's completely fine. Lovely. Are you still thinking of that pelvic floor? Gently lifting it up inside you, pulling the belly in as we use the rectus abdominis as well now to curl us forward. Okay, on the next one, we're going to try and hold. Here we go, everyone. Reaching through the fingertips, shoulder blades up off the mat. Then we pump the arms like there's a tennis ball underneath each hand. Good, and you're bouncing it up and down. Pull that tummy in a little bit tighter. Good, as we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lovely. Keep going there a moment longer. If you need to take a break there, that's completely fine. Get back into it when you can. Here we go. One more round, everyone. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly roll back down. Excellent. We're going to place our hands out at the sides. If I was looking at you bird's eye view, you'd look like a capital letter T. We're going palms down to the floor to help give us a bit more support. Good. Now, scoop in the belly, rib to hip connection. From here, keep your legs really squeezed together as we press down through our back shoulder, but start to float both legs towards us, towards your screen. Good. So you'll feel one hip rocking off the ground. Then scoop in with the belly, scoop in with that waist to bring the legs back through the center. Inhale in the middle. Exhale. Slowly take the other legs the other way. Now, what you're going to find happening is that opposite shoulder wants to start to lift off. I need you to press it down nice and firmly into your mat. This is going to create a lovely spiral, a lovely twist through your body. So again, we're thinking about working with that rotation, teaching our body to be able to support you through rotation. Okay. It's also quite a nice stretch for the back when we find that as well. Good. The abdominals are working hard. The obliques are working hard. Feel with your hands if you need to, if you've still got your rib to hip connection. If this is going really well for you and you'd like an extra challenge, you might like to take the legs off into tabletop. Now, this will be a lot harder, so turn those abs on, squeeze the legs together, and then slowly float side to side here. Press that opposite shoulder down into the mat and make sure your chin is staying to your chest. Beautiful. How are we going, guys? Feeling good? Good. Good concentrating, Brad. I can see you thinking and feeling about that there. Well done. Let's make this our last one. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Beautiful. Float that down. And then we'll take one more full body stretch from here, reaching everything out. There. Lovely. Okay, gently bring the hands and the feet back in now.
Good. Check that the feet are hip width apart. Good. And a couple of inches away from the bottom. We're ready for our glute bridge or our shoulder bridge, whichever you prefer to call it now. Right, we've got our chin gently tucked in towards our chest, and we've still got that lovely TVA activation. We're going to tuck the tailbone underneath us so you feel your lower back press into the mat. You're allowed to squash the blueberry now. Squeeze your bottom, feel those glutes as you start to drive through your heels and slowly roll your way up through your spine, little by little, piece by piece. Good. At the top, we're going to reach those hips up to the ceiling, but be very careful not to overextend, to overarch through your lower back. Let's double check that the knees are going nicely over your toes. You haven't let them wobble in or out. Okay, then we're going to slowly bring our rib cage down first. So we're trying to curve through the spine. We're trying to articulate, rolling down through the lumbar spine, the lower back, and lastly down into your hips where we take a little reset. Very good. Let's try that again. So we tuck the tailbone under. We press the lower back through the mat. We push into our heels as we squeeze the bottom and use that squeeze to help reach our hips up to the ceiling. Double check your knees. Good. Double check your rib to hip connection. Reach through the front of those hips a little bit more. And then slowly, with lots of control, roll your way back down. Excellent. Now, if that's going well for you, feel free to float the hands up to the ceiling without elevating the shoulders. Okay. Otherwise, keep the hands down to give you a little bit more support. Excellent. Brad and Shameen will keep showing this to you now. So a glute bridge is a really lovely thing to work our way through. Not only is it going to help to release that back, to help you articulate and find all that mobility that we want to maintain through our spine, but it's also going to help you to fire up your posterior chain. So that's the back of your body. Okay, we want this to be nice and strong. So we're thinking glutes, we're thinking hamstrings, in order to do the opposite of what we normally do throughout life, okay? Normally, we're all leaning forward, we're in flexion so much, but right now, as you can see and as you can feel, we're trying to open up the front of our body. So we're firing up the back of the body, but opening up through the front. If you're not feeling those glutes working yet, are you guys feeling them? They're there. Excellent. Well done. If we're not feeling those glutes working yet, just give them a little bit more squeeze. Okay. The glutes can be a little bit stubborn sometimes. So drive into your heels, squeeze that bottom, and really start encouraging those glutes to turn on. We're breathing as we go here, nice and slowly, nice and smoothly, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Beautiful. Drop those shoulders down into the floor a little bit more, and then we'll start to finish off the one that you're on. In 3, in 2, and in 1. Lovely. Once you finish, just hug the knees to the chest and gently release and rock side to side there for a moment. Well done. Okay, from here, we're simply going to lie onto our side. So just turn to look at us now, and we're going to do some side lying work. So we're reaching our underneath arm out to the side, palm is up to the ceiling, head gently resting down on it. And then we're bending our knees more or less up to a 90-degree angle. And most importantly, we're checking the position of our pelvis, okay? So I really want one hip exactly on top of the other. Most of the time, we tend to have it rocking and forward and back a little bit. So just take a moment to adjust that now. Good. We're imagining that there's an ice cube underneath our waist, and we don't want to touch the ice cube because it's really cold. So we're getting a gentle lifted sensation to help the obliques and fire up through the abdominals to support us there. Now really keep that pelvis still. You can use your hands to help if you like, as we think of squeezing the top side of your glutes to make our way up into our clam. So we're gently lifting that top leg. Good. Now, seriously, double check that hip hasn't rocked forward or back. Pull the belly in, lift the waist up slightly, and then resist and press back down. We inhale, we exhale, we squeeze, we lift the leg up, okay, just to about hip height, and then we float it back down. Excellent. Now we're going to keep going here. What we want to find is that your glute medius should be starting to turn on quite quickly here. If it's not, don't worry, it does take practice, and our glutes can tend to be pretty stubborn. All right, they are meant to work. So we're trying to teach them to now. The more that we can get the gluteals activating, the more support and stability they're going to offer for your pelvis, which therefore helps you with lots of other kind of movements, and also can eventually start to ease out some of that hip pain, some of that lower back pain lots of us experience from the body having to compensate in all different ways. So long story short, get the glutes working. All right, keep squeezing them, keep focusing on it. If the hip's trying to take over, feel free to rub it out, give it a little release for a moment, and then try again to really focus on squeezing into that glute med to lift it up. Good. You've got 4 more to go here. If you're feeling that you could add a little bit more of a challenge, feel free to extend that top leg when you're at the top of your glute. Good, when you're at the top of your clam rather, and then float that leg back down. Lovely. Here we go. 3 more times. Reaching the leg away, keeping the hips completely balanced. If that's too much, if it's making you rock and roll, keep following Brad, just moving through the clam position for now. Lovely. How are those ice cubes? Are they still there? Are we still lifting? Good. Keep that happening. We want the obliques and the glutes to be working in opposition with one another. 1 more time. Excellent. Now on the next one, we're going to take a little hold. So slightly easier, hold the leg up at hip height. Slightly harder, reach the foot away from you. Take your pick. Let's open that chest. Let's reach the hand to the ceiling if we can as well. For 3, squeeze those glutes a little bit more. For 2, draw the belly in. And for 1, lovely, return and leave that there. Okay, straight into our side kicks now. You can give the bottom a little bit of a rub if it needs to though, of course. Otherwise, we're lengthening the legs away. Now, I want you to imagine that someone is pulling your feet away from you as you do this. The more we lengthen the legs, the more it's going to help with that lift. Okay, hips are super balanced again. We inhale, prepare. Exhale, float just the top leg up. Inhale, back down. Exhale, float the top leg up. Excellent. Good. So, this is really lovely for the hips again. We're moving through some abduction and some adduction, so moving the leg out and in. If that's going well for you, if you're quite familiar with this exercise, feel free to make it a little bit more challenging by lifting both legs at once, okay? Whichever option is best for you today. What you want to be very mindful of, though, is that lifting the legs doesn't make you collapse in the waist. Okay, so even though we're moving our legs, our obliques, our core muscles are still very much a part of this exercise. Good. Let's see how they're going. Couple more there, everyone. Lovely. And as you can see, Brad and Shamim have a nice long spine. They're really reaching away. It's like I'm pulling them in one direction and someone else is pulling them from the other. Beautiful, guys. Now, are you feeling like you could perhaps lift that top hand off? Maybe place it on your hip. You've got 2 more to go there. Draw that belly in. See how it goes. If that's too much for today, don't worry. Next time, perhaps it will work a little bit better. Lovely. On this next one, we're going to hold. So 2 legs if you can. Otherwise, hold just the top leg. Good. Get a little bit of a squeeze into those glutes. Lift through that pelvic floor. Rib to hip connection. Draw the belly in. Keep breathing there. Well done. For 3. For 2. Excellent. And then we can relax that down there. Well done, everyone. Okay, take a little breather. And then we're going to sit ourselves up and actually turn around as we make our way into a quadruped position. So our hands are going directly underneath our shoulders and our knees are going directly underneath our hips. Good. Now we're lengthening the spine. So think of the tailbone and the top of the head reaching away from one another. And please be careful not to strain the back of your neck here. So try not to lift your head too high. In fact, we're going to gently tuck the chin down towards the chest. Good. Now we're of course lifting in our belly. From here, we're going to make our way into some cat-cows, but we're going to really try and segment the spine as we do this. So we'll just begin by tucking the tailbone. We're keeping the shoulders, the head, the neck still. We're just tucking the tailbone and then starting to inch our way to travel along the spine little by little as we start to slowly flex through every little part of our spine as much as possible. Eventually, we'll round through the shoulders and the chin will come down to the chest. So we're in that lovely cat position. Now to make our way out of this, keep your head looking down, but just try to slowly untuck the tailbone.
All right, so our body tends to create all different pathways. We start to move in ways that are familiar and comfortable for our body. Now, this isn't necessarily the best way to move, and it often means that certain parts get missed out. That's when we can come across all sorts of niggles, tightnesses, weaknesses. So we're trying to take our time now to truly travel and articulate, to segment through every little part of the spine. Great, going here a couple more times. So as you can see, we're all moving at a slightly different pace. That's a good thing, okay? Move to your body, seeing how much you can control it as we lift through the belly, traveling through the very bottom, through the lumbar, the thoracic, all the way up to the very top of the spine. Excellent. From here, I want you to start making your way back into a neutral position, so that lengthened, long spine. Beautiful. Reaching the head and the tailbone away from one another, gently squeezing under the armpits and getting the body nicely supporting itself from there. Excellent. Okay, from here, you're going to make your way into a prone position. So you're going to be lying down flat on your tummies. Now, I'm going to keep talking for this one so you can hear me clearly. Lovely, but Brad and Shamim are making our way down there. Excellent. We're going to place our hands out to the side, kind of like a surrender position. And we're really reaching the feet and the head away from each other. Good. Now, this is going to be lovely for our extension work. But before we begin, though, what we want to do is check that the TVA, those core muscles, are still holding and supporting us. So I want you to gently try and press your pubic bone into the mat and then find your rib to hip connection, while you imagine placing that ice cube underneath your belly now. So think of your belly button gently lifting away from the floor slightly. You're going to try to maintain that as we press through the arms and start to extend just your upper back. It might be quite a small movement up off the ground. Excellent. Keeping that length through the back of the neck, just like Shamim and Brad are showing us. Then you can float yourselves back down. Good. Scoop in that belly again. Press the pubic bone gently into the floor. Exhale as you press through the hands, lengthen through the spine, extending. Good, through that thoracic region. And then inhaling as you float back down. Good. Now, if you feel like you've got good control and understanding of this, feel free to start floating your arms off the ground as well as you go. Good. If that starts to go really well for you, you might even like to do it as Shamim's doing it, holding the extension, hands off the floor, containing that as you reach the arms forward overhead, sliding them back down, and then placing yourself to the ground. Excellent. So again, this is all about opening the body up, to move through extension, to move in a way that is very different to what we typically do in daily life. Okay, we're no longer rounding ourselves forward, but we're opening ourselves up. We're drawing those shoulder blades together, finding that activation for the rhomboids, for the lower traps, for the back extensors. Excellent. Keeping the shoulders well away from the ears, lifting in that tummy. Lots to think about, I know, but really worthwhile doing. Well done, everyone. On your next one, we're going to try to hold. So pick the option that's best for you. Hands on the floor if you need, or floating out to your sides, or perhaps even reaching them overhead. Okay, pull that belly button in. Breathe there for 3, for 2, and for 1. Excellent. Then you can slide your hands back in, float them down. Excellent. And then let's push through our hands and sit the bottom back into a nice shell stretch now. Good. That's it. Reaching through the hands, relaxing into that lower back. Taking a couple of deep breaths there. In fact, let's breathe all the way into the rib cage. Feel the ribs expand. Exhale, let it go. Try that one more time. Breathing in. Feel the expansion through the ribs. Exhale, melt down into the floor. And then we're going to roll ourselves up and we're going to be lying on our sides facing the other way for the other side of our side lying work. Excellent. So we've got our palm up to the ceiling. We've got our knees bent almost in front of our hips, one hip bone directly on top of the other. Good. Now, keeping those hips balanced, keeping the waist lifted, squeezing into the other side of the glutes, the top side. We lift that leg up. Good. So it's floating just above hip height, and we've very much checked that we've not rocked or rolled through the pelvis. Then we can float that leg back down. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, squeeze the glutes, lift that leg back up and float it back down. Well done. Now, as we keep going through here, let's run through a bit of a body checklist. Is your chin slightly tucked down towards your chest so you're maintaining that length through the back of your neck? Are you lifting that waist, okay, staying away from the ice cube underneath you? Gently pulling the belly in towards your spine. Are you really being mindful of squeezing into that glute med every single time, trying to teach your body that that is where we want to be activating every single time when we move through that abduction of the hip? Nice. How is your back? You can use your hand to check, watching that you're not arching it too much, but instead trying to maintain that neutral spine. We're exhaling as we float the leg up, inhaling as we float it back down. Very good. Now we've got 4 more to go. So at this stage, if you'd like to challenge yourselves a little bit more, if you did it on the first side, then you can also start to extend that leg away from you, keeping the pelvis aligned before gliding the knee back in without letting it drop, and then floating it back down. Good. 3 more. Here we go. Continuing to breathe, continuing to squeeze. If you are reaching the leg away from you, make sure you really reach through it, open through that hip. That'll help to lift the waist as well. If you're still focusing on your clams, well done, okay? That's a really good thing to master first and foremost, and then there is a lot that we can build on from there. Well done, everyone. Okay, we're making our way up into our last one, and we're also going to take a hold. So really squeeze, pick, keeping the leg bent or squeezing and lengthening away. Lift under that waist, breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Squeeze the bottom a little bit firmer, lift the leg a little bit higher if you can. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Beautiful. Bring it in and float it back down. Give it a little bit of a rub if you need. Okay, then we're going straight into our side kicks. So 2 long straight legs for this one. Really lengthen the legs. Help you to lift that waist. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, scoop the belly, squeeze the glutes. Lift and lengthen that top leg. Float it back down. Good, so we'll all just start by only moving the top leg to begin. And then once the body feels nice and stable, okay, then you might want to add the option of lifting both legs. All right, we'll do that shortly. For now, however, we're really focusing on finding that scoop through the low, deep abdominals. All right, again, even though it feels like we're just moving our leg, there should be quite a lot going on through the core to really help you stabilize here. Okay, we can go into lifting both legs if you'd like now. And remember as well that your hand is here to support. Support yourself if you need it. Then you can focus on the technique. Only take that hand off if you're truly managing to stabilize. Good. I can hear Shamim and Brad breathing really well behind me. That is great. Hopefully you're breathing too. Exhaling to lengthen and lift the legs or leg. Inhaling to float back down. Well done. We've got 4 more from here. Lengthening and lifting. Beautiful. Let's try and lengthen that spine a little bit more as well. All right, so we're reaching those legs out nice and far away. Let's find our little hold now. Hand off if you can. Good. Scoop in that belly. Reach through those legs. Keeping breathing for 3. No tension in the neck or the shoulders. Good. Pull that belly in. Legs a little higher, a little longer. For 2. And for 1. Excellent. Float that back down and leave that there. Lovely. From here, we're going to sit ourselves up. Excellent, with our legs out in front of us. Now, if you struggle to sit like this, feel free to sit on a block or a cushion, and that'll just help you to sit a little bit more comfortably. Good, we're going to be making our way into our spine stretch now, and I'm going to use Brad to show you how this one's done. So we're sitting up nice and tall. We're really trying to lengthen that spine up and out of our sit bones. Then let's imagine that I've looped a belt around your waist, and I'm holding it behind you like I am with Brad now. We then reach our arms out in front of us, lengthen that spine a little bit more and draw in through the belly. Feel the belt scooping in through the abdominals. Then we start to bring our chin to our chest, lovely. And you start to reach and fold your body forward, moving through that spinal flexion, but staying really drawn in through the belly. Good, so there's only so far you can go because I've got the belt in place. Excellent. All right, so we're continuing to try to really reach over those legs. Now, this is not just about dropping your body forward and trying to force the stretch, okay? There's a lot more to it than that. We're really trying to create that connection between the abdominals, between the spinal flexion, and to truly try to stretch really nicely into the hamstrings, which tend to be quite tight for most of us. Okay, so as you can see with Brad and Shamim, they're moving through their range and they're really trying to create controlled movement here. They're staying drawn in through the belly. They're tucking that chin down to their chest and then articulating through the spine from there. Good. Again, when we try to move our bodies in the proper way, rather than just forcing, jumping around, letting the body cheat, that's when we're truly going to get stronger. We're truly going to mobilize the body and create a lot more efficiency. Excellent. Let's start to make our way out of that one now. At the top, we'll sit nice and tall again, lengthening through that spine for 3, for 2, and for 1. Beautiful. Okay, floating those arms down now, and then we can just bend up our knees, and we're going to do one more exercise before we start to cool down. That's going to be our roll up. So knees are bent, nice and tall up on top of the sit bones, and we'll start by holding underneath our legs. Good. This one's all about spinal mobility and core activation again. So we just gently tuck the tailbone. Find that tailbone tuck, scoop in the belly, chin to chest, and then I want you to really curve your spine as we roll back a little bit, as if your lower back, your lumbar spine, is trying to find the mat. Then pull that tummy in, and use the abdominals to curl you back up, lengthening at the top. Good, keep going here. Remember to tuck the tailbone first to try and stop the hip flexors from taking over. Curl the body, lower back tries to find the mat. Scoop in the abdominals, get them firing up to bring you back up. Now, if that's feeling good, feel free to reach your hands off and start doing this now without holding onto your legs. If you're still building your core strength, just keep holding onto the legs, okay? And you'll gradually start to build up from there. Beautiful. Now, if this is still going really well for you, you might want to start making your way down into the floor a little bit more, as Shamim will demonstrate now. So feeling the lower back, carefully go into the mat, pressing it into the mat to scoop the tummy and sit back up. Very good. Keep going there 2 more times, everyone. Exhaling as you move, inhaling in between. And really take your time, okay? It's much better to work through this one than to simply drop into the floor and lose all of that control, to lose all the benefits that we're trying to find here. Lovely. Good. Our shoulders are away from our ears, scooping into that belly every single time, trying to keep the feet down on the ground. Make that your last one as we finish off for 3, for 2, and for 1. Well done, everyone. Okay, so from here, we're going to make our way down onto our back. We're going to do a few stretches to finish off. Bend both knees, feet are nice and close together. We're going to lengthen through the spine and then gently let your knees open out to the sides, softening into a nice butterfly stretch. Good. Watch that this hasn't put any pressure into the lumbar spine, the lower back. If it has, just gently press it into the floor slightly. And then really allow gravity to gently be pulling those legs apart as we soften through the hips, along the inner thighs. And I'd also like you to relax your pelvic floor as well now. Okay, so we did a lot of work to focus on the pelvic floor throughout class today. And as much as we want the pelvic floor muscles to be able to engage, to be able to fire up, we do also want them to be able to relax at certain times as well. So take a moment to try and relax the pelvic floor now. As we stay here just a moment longer, closing your eyes if you'd like to. Breathing in through the nose. Out through the mouth. Lovely. Okay, from here you can gently bring the legs back together. Use your hands to help if you need to. And then we're just going to roll ourselves over and make our way into a little crouching position like so. Good. Then we're going to try to reach our hips up to the ceiling. We're going to try and keep the hands towards the ground as long as possible. And then soften the knees, draw the belly in, tuck the tailbone, and slowly roll yourselves up, leaving your heads to come up very, very last as we release through that spine one more time. Lovely. Stand up really tall at the top. Let's roll those shoulders back and down. Then let's take a deep breath all the way in. Out. And you are all done. Give yourselves a clap. Well done, everyone. I hope you are feeling good. See you again soon.